So in this first video, we're going to talk about hardware and software requirements and what's required of you as a student for learning to program in Unity. Okay, so let's start with hardware. You've probably seen a lot of Unity games and such, and you're probably thinking, wow, that's a lot of graphics and it's pretty intensive and stuff. And sure enough, if you are if you're working in industry, you need a fairly robust machine. But we're learners here, and so we're not going to need that much of a machine. Let's keep it simple. Okay, so a good laptop will do it. Your biggest requirements then are going to be memory, so you can run the large programs, and storage, so that you can save your work, save multiple copies of the Unity editor, that kind of thing. So those are your most important things. CPU is always nice to have, but it's a third consideration in this case. And GPU, fourth consideration, because we're not going to be working at the height of graphic work here. Okay. That said, get what you can afford. And if you're thinking that you're going to be in industry, maybe you want to invest a little more and start building your own tool set. Okay, but that's entirely up to you. I know students aren't made of money; they're not just overflowing with it. So, you don't need to break your bank to do this kind of thing. All right, so that's the hardware. By the way, just to let you know, I'm using a Surface 8 Pro, which is kind of a medium level laptop. It's very nice storage wise and such, and I've got all the memory. But it's not a gaming laptop or anything like that, so its performance isn't blazing. If I'm doing graphics work, I have to attach an external GPU, eGPU. The box is a Razer Core, and the video card is an NVIDIA 3600 series. So you can see even with video, I'm not top of the line there. But that does enough for me for the kind of rendering I do. And then I've got a couple of external monitors attached to it because I like having a lot of monitor space to program in. But honestly, I just take the laptop itself, go to a cafe, and I'm happy to work on it just like it is. Okay, so you don't really need all the bells and whistles. So just saying. Okay, software-wise, you want Unity. That's it. And we're going to talk about how to download Unity. As a student, it's free, and that's really all you need. Okay, a good web browser, of course, which hopefully you've got because you're here watching these videos. I advise against Chrome, and I definitely advise against a Chromebook because Chromebooks make it difficult to install the software that you need, and they have that kind of control. So, I'm sorry. Chromebooks are interesting machines, but they're really not for developers. Likewise, neither is an iPad really a good development machine. If you are using, if you're just developing for Windows or, say, for instance, Android, Unity comes with everything you need. You don't need Android Studio. It comes with Visual Studio Editor so that you can edit code in Unity. But that's about it. That's all you really need. If you're developing for other platforms, say the Xbox or iOS, then you'll need some extra software. For instance, iOS requires Xcode and the developer license from Apple, and so there's some complexities. And we may get into that later in the course, but I'm going to concentrate mostly on Windows development or development for Windows on a Mac machine because it looks pretty much the same, and some development or deployment to Android devices. And that's it. That's all we're going to do. You can figure out the rest on your own. And like I said, I may throw out some supplemental videos out there, but not required. Okay, so there's your hardware and software. Okay. Now, after that, what's required of you? Okay, so I'm going to be demonstrating stuff. That's what videos are for, so you get to see some demonstration. I'll be talking my way through it, so you learn some neat little tricks, I hope, and some ins and outs of how Unity works and that kind of thing. But I'm not going to show you everything on Unity. It's just not possible. For one thing, I don't know what you're going to use Unity for. So you may see something I do and go, gee, I can adapt that to my use, or gee, that's useless, and I'll wait until he does something interesting, or that kind of thing. That's kind of normal. Everybody uses it slightly differently, so I'm going to try and hit the basics and not get bogged down too much in special stuff, which may be exactly what you're looking for. Okay, so for that kind of thing, it's going to depend on you to explore a little bit, to go outside the lines of what I show you. Try stuff out. Try things I didn't say, but that occur to you. You're not going to hurt your computer or anything by trying something. Worst you're going to get is an error message, and oh, that didn't work, or gee, I need to tweak that a little more to make it work the way I want. Okay, so experiment, play. This should be a little bit of fun anyway. If it's not fun, why are you doing this? I've always loved programming. I can't say that's true of every programmer I know, but for me, definitely. All right. The other thing is that you should be already somewhat of a good programmer in a traditional language, something like C or Java or Python or something like that, so that I don't have to teach you about loops and conditionals and subroutines and that kind of stuff, and so that we can concentrate on the new features that C# brings in and the assets and such that the Unity editor gives you. So yeah, you definitely want to have some experience as a programmer. Okay, you should also be something of a researcher. Okay, you're going to type in some of the stuff that I do, and it's not going to work for you. There's going to be a typo and such. And so you're not going to know how to fix it, and you can't really call me up and say, gee, this happened, what do I do? Okay, so you got to be a little bit of your own researcher. You should be able to look things up. You should be able to work your way through the documentation to figure out what happened. You should be able to read error messages and interpret them. And there's a lot of help out there. A lot of times if I have a question, I go right to Google, type the whole question in. Even the simple words. And that way I get a lot of response that's close to what I'm looking for. And I can sift through that and usually find something that helps me. And sometimes while I'm doing that, I also find some interesting stuff that kind of like, ooh, I got to try that later. That's good for you guys too. So do that. Okay. The other thing is when you run into an error message and you just have no idea what that error message means, copy and paste the whole error message into your Google search bar. Yeah. And you'll get some help. Some of it will be helpful and some of it won't. And you'll have to pick through it a little bit, but that's what being a researcher is about. You'll be able to figure these things out. Okay. So that's kind of the idea. You need to do a little bit of work and a little bit of digging and a little bit of exploring and go beyond just what I'm showing you, because what I'm going to show you is going to show you how to do some simple things and they'll get your foot in the door, but you won't really be part of the party until you start playing. Okay, so that's kind of the idea. That's what's going to happen. We're going to start out with the first video of just how to get Unity on your system installed and stuff. If you've already done that, it's still a good refresher because you may learn a few things about what's behind Unity. Okay, if nothing else, hopefully I hope that you find these videos entertaining and interesting. And if you learn stuff, that's great. If you're entertained, that's great. If you have feedback, because certainly I don't know everything. And so if you know something that I missed, feel free to let me know. Thanks a lot. We'll see you in the next video.